Hey, y'all, guess what time it is? Guess what time it is? My favorite day of the week. My favorite time of the week. What you know?
Oh, it's yelling at City Council Day!
Woo! And that is the best day of the week as far as I'm concerned, and as far as he's concerned too, to be perfectly honest with you. Because that means I'm yelling at someone other than protest dad over here. So before we get into a wrap up of what happened last week, because I have a feeling you guys already know, and tell you what's to look ahead for this week, I would like to tell the story that I didn't get to tell last week because they somehow missed me in public input. And then I flat forgot to register for it on Friday because it opens up at 12:15. And if you are late, you're left, unfortunately. So being left behind, I'm going to tell you all the story. And then we're going to move into the Denver protest news. Do not forget, though, you want to see all this in person? Please do it tonight at the City and Council building. Yeah, I'm aware of what that could entail. There's going to be a whole lot of folks there. So before I go any further in the story, here's the story part. Trigger warning, y'all. This story may invoke imagery of animal cruelty. I'm not sure. You'll see what I mean by that in a minute. So 1 year, a long time ago, when I was coming home to rural Tennessee during a college break, a friend offered to set me up with somebody. He's just like you, she said, and I'm sentient enough to know that that's never a good thing. So I asked to speak to this person on the phone first. Right off the bat, he whispers, "I'm going to fuck you like a bunny rabbit." I don't know what he meant by that. And I didn't go on that date to find out either. Still get a little queasy, to be honest with you, when I think about it. I felt violated and threatened and scared all at the same time, and that doesn't happen often, although people do try poorly in Denver. Not a challenge, just an observation. I actually honestly cannot imagine saying those words to another person. And that is why I implore you to approve Candy C. Tabaka's budget amendments. Thanks to passing 2G, we're going to be bringing these amendments up a lot over the course of the year. To refresh your memory, they include $2 million for cooperative business development and $300,000 for trash services for our current unhoused neighbors. And though this is a movement for Black lives, winter is coming, y'all, and we need to take care of the unhoused. We could easily reallocate some of the money existing in the budget, but we'll come back to that later. The budget looks at the impoverished, the unhoused, people of color, people with disabilities, and effectively promises to become like bunny rabbits. We're cutting desperately needed services and societal supports while betting on tourism and revenue to bail us out. Because remember, what's the one thing we still got going? This right here, $3.5 million for convention center operations in a pandemic during which air travel is questionable at best. Yet we're going to spend $3.5 million on that bet that we can keep those doors open and nothing on our unhoused neighbors. Does that make sense to you? Does that sound responsible to you? Sure doesn't to me. So we know that isn't going to happen. We know this is stupid. We expect, and we can tell this from the budget, increase, not a decrease in DPD to match all the other decreases. No. We are expecting more poverty because of the recession and everything else and eviction crisis that's coming. And more poverty means more crime, which means we need more police officers to you, not to us. And the proof of that is evident in this DPD allocation, which we want to change. The threat to our society, by the way, it's not the most vulnerable. It's not the unhoused. It's the privileged who think that the unhoused chose this life, that they chose struggle, and that they're morally inferior and therefore don't deserve actual protection. And that's terrible, and it's incorrect. We need to protect these people. We're better than this. Actually, no, we're not even close. We're not better than this, but we can be. And approving Candy C. Tabaka's budget amendments would be a tremendous step towards being the decent human beings you so far have refused to be, City Council. Except for those of you who voted to end the Allied contract. Love you. Love all of you. Now just keep doing things so we can keep loving you. That'd be great, Polly. And don't tell Candy to raise her hand anymore because that was really gross. Thanks. So let's back to that little bunny in the story that I told you a minute ago. That poor little bunny, soft, tiny, shivering in the hands of my blind date, who to no one's surprise would go on to later go to prison for animal cruelty in Tennessee. Do you know how hard that is to do in Tennessee, y'all? It's hard. Whatever feelings you have for that little bunny right now, I implore you to extend a modicum of that empathy, rage, horror, and indignation towards the Black people being murdered by the police officers you refuse to oversee and the unhoused dying on your watch less than a block from the Capitol building from where you sit and work. Do the right thing, City Council. Vote yes to support Candace Tabaka's budget amendments. Y'all stuck with me till 2023. I might chant that a time or two as public input starts, y'all. So let's make the most of it, especially with 2G. We can propose budget amendments year round. We're going to be doing that. Yay! You don't like the system that gives me privilege? You might want to help me dismantle it then. Take it away from me. Just saying. Any of you can do it. Let's work together on it. Y'all, I really do not want to spend the next 4 years protesting here and telling picked up stories on Monday nights, but I will. And that is what I was going to say last week with a few inputs and caveats. Now, if you were here, if you were there, if you engage and watch the news, then you know that they decayed all of those proposals, every single one. The one that is the most egregious is this one right here, reallocating $300,000 in next year's budget for trash services for our current unhoused neighbors. This is not being done. Right now, anything that we gift with the unhoused is basically being thrown away. We give them something on Monday, they throw it away on Tuesday. And this is because in the name of public health, right? This is ridiculous because this is not solving the public health crisis. It's not. We're spending $3.5 million to keep the convention center open during a pandemic. We could do a little bit to just sort of contain, maybe, or clean up the area where the unhoused will continue to live because they got nowhere to go. That's how I feel about that. Pull up the comments. It's Yelling at City Council Day. I love it. I'm so excited. Thank you. No, I want you to take that spot. It's totally good. I mean, I love a good bait and switch as much as anyone else, but I would rather bait and switch it on a day when they don't see this coming and they're kind of counting on it, I think. So we're going to have to get sneaky. I'm really loud. I don't breathe, y'all. And not when I'm yelling. I don't have to. I've got gills specifically made to yell at City Council, and I will teach you how to develop those gills. Yay! Oh, no pronouns in the bio. Yep, I'm that sort of bitch, y'all. Chad. Chad. Of course, that's your name. Bless your heart. So sweet. Anyway, now we're getting on to the Denver protest news. I'm sure y'all know that Donald Trump doesn't seem to be aware of the fact that he lost, which is why I was busy on Friday. I was drunk. I was drunk and celebrating with all my friends saying, hey, yeah, look at the loser. Not really. I don't actually drink that much. And when I do, it's kind of scary for everybody. But I was sober enough to start looking towards Monday and remind y'all that at this point, this was going to happen. We aren't done. Someone actually said to me over the weekend, does this mean you're not going to be my protest mom anymore? And I was like, what does that have to do with anything? Are you a Democrat? Are you a liberal? Get the fuck out of my house. I didn't make them leave. Believe it or not, I blocked the door and continued yelling at them. I know it's shocking, right? But what I was yelling was, we aren't even close to done. Not by a long shot. We got a ways to go. This is, to remind y'all and to remind everyone, this is a movement for Black lives. And in order to do that, we need to defund the police. Defunding the police is policy, and that happens on the local level. It's not something really Joe Biden and Kamala Harris can address. There are other venues where they can, but at the end of the day, we got to care about local legislature and get involved and make Yelling at City Council Day a thing if we're actually going to enact the policies that will effectively defund the police. It requires yelling inside the halls at City Council and using our white privilege to make those motherfuckers listen because they don't real well at all. And the reason this is a problem, we have a mayor who is way more powerful than Trump, fewer checks and balances in place, and fewer people criticizing him out loud. We got a whole lot of fragile people in Denver that don't want to criticize a Black man. And though I respect that instinct, I really wish they would remember that this person is an elected official who is refusing to meet with them, respond to emails, meet the moment, or fulfill his campaign promises. It is your civic duty to hold his feet to the fire, no matter where he comes from. Disagreeing with a Black person does not effectively make you a racist. Other things will make you a racist. If you want to find out what those things are, please come to City Hall. There's a whole bunch of us that would love to educate you tonight at 4:30. And so at 4:30 outside, Walla Moms is going to be sitting outside, because we're This is the final vote to approve the 2021 budget. In decades past, this has been a rubber stamp moment because no one has cared. Very few people have shown up, but we have to show up and we have to yell and scream and holler about this budget and make sure that they know how upset we are about it. I promise you, the electeds watch my live streams. I promise you they do. Take a look at the numbers that I get, right? I don't make any money off of this. I don't intend to, but I am loud and they know I have a platform and they care when their name is coming out my mouth. So this is a really effective way to get their attention. Come on my platform and tell your story. One of the things I really want to talk about, I want to start with reallocating some of the police budget towards the unhoused or some existing budget for the rest of the year towards the unhoused. This really matters as a step one in defunding, because it's not only are we trying to keep Black people alive, but defund is effectively going to stop criminalizing Blackness and poverty and addiction and petty crime and a whole bunch of stuff. Mental illness, for example. I don't like that phrase, but we don't have a better one at the moment. When I'm heated like this, someone correct me, tell me what it would be. But what we want to do is start that process, and this is a really easy one, is to come in and start arguing again for $300,000 for trash services, reallocating some of the existing contract towards actually cleaning up where the unhoused lie, because they got nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. These sweeps are a waste of money, and they're really stupid. That is like less than a month worth. If we stopped the sweeps for 1 month in the winter, took that cash and reallocated it towards basic services for them, we wouldn't eradicate the public health crisis. We could go a long way towards containing it. Sharps containers at every tent, for example. Oh my God, don't get me started. Better yet, don't get Denver Homeless Out Loud started. These guys are the OGs. They know what they're doing. They've been on the ground forever. So our best bet at starting this defunding process is here. And once we get them used to it, we're going to normalize taking money away from DPD real slowly and then do it bigly, in honor of someone who tried to get to all of us bigly past 4 years. Yeehaw. So to that, please, tonight at 4:30, we're going to be Craftivism. Got some crafty bitches there in Walla Moms. They're going to be showing you. We're going to bring all the empty cans and containers that you have, bring tea candles, tea lights, packs of matches. What we're going to be doing tonight is taking the lids off of, or rather cleaning and sterilizing empty cans, be that a can of beans, can of soup, or cans of Coca-Cola, whatever it is, y'all West, I forget what people call it. Kids these days, soda pop. We're going to be taking the lids off those cans, your little seltzer water cans, 5% alcohol. And then we're going to be cleaning them out, sterilizing them, filling a little bit of sand in the bottom to make them stable, filling them with tea lights, throwing in a pack of matches, and that's enough to keep a tent warm overnight. And our unhoused neighbors are really going to need this tonight. It's going to be cold, really cold. And if you find yourself saying it's only going to snow an inch or two, again, that's your privilege showing, because 1 inch or two isn't enough to deter you in any way, because you have shelter and you'll still sleep tonight. Even if you don't have heat, you still have a better chance of sleeping than people on the street will, quite literally. And that 1 to 2 inches won't deter your ability to get to work because you have a job and maybe don't rely on public transportation. So there's a whole lot loaded in that statement. It's only going to snow an inch or two. I beg you, if you have found that coming out of your mouth in any way, shape, or form today, please, for the love of God, show up to City Council. We've got to fucking be there in person. We have got to care about local legislature, because that is a big piece of caring about and supporting this movement for Black lives. I know in Denver, only 3% of our population or something like that is actually consists of Black people, according to the census. But I promise you, all of this ties into something together and something bigger. And we have to physically and personally align behind Candace Tabaka when she is advocating for the least of us, because that will give the strength for others on the council to see that she actually has popular support, and then do the same things. I don't know if y'all noticed, but the reason I get mad about Democrats is they don't like anything that looks anywhere to the left of them. So we got to make the left. It's up to us to show up to band and make the left cool again. There you go. Because Republicans ain't going to be showing up tonight and saying, "Good job, City Council." So as long as that isn't happening, we're pretty safe to show up and be like, "Fuck you," every time. And I'm really, how many times have you gotten to say "fuck you" today? And really at the top of your voice to someone who had to hear it and receive it. I mean, if you think about it, going back to that bunny rabbit story, why would we treat City Council any better than they're treating the unhoused? Make them the bunny rabbit. Speak your mind. Yeehaw. All right. So after that, if you feel free, please, you can continue to stream. I'm going to be live streaming it. You can get on the Zoom. If you don't have Zoom access from your car, then you can continue to stream. I'll be on this platform. I'll be on multiple platforms in my usual places. While you drive, you can watch my commentary on the city council meeting, or you can shut me down and watch the city council meeting yourself. I don't really care. What I care is that you engage in some way, shape, or form in a way that is visible, and you watch, because tonight they are voting again to finalize the 2021 budget, which is, by the way, let me find it, based on, we're just going to keep killing black people until the budget balances. We're going to say, fuck you, unhoused people. This, and, and unless we're there to yell, they're going to tell Candy to raise her hand so that she can't say, fuck your pickleball court. So this is why we got to show up. We got to show up for the Candy. She goes deep into the paint, to quote Rebecca Mendation. Candy goes deep in the paint for us every single week. The least we can do is put on our pearls and show up for her. Now, I don't think she's going to be in person tonight because pandemic and all, and I get that respectfully. Wear a fucking mask, bring something to give to the homeless, stay outside for the craftivism, and then come inside and tell city council to go themselves, and I will catch it on the live stream. We're not going to let them get away with that. Final note, if at any point in your life you have ever been unhoused, I have, I'm begging you, come to city council and tell that story. I would like to capture it on my platform. This is not to be exploitative, but rather to normalize this conversation. The part of living in a capitalist society means that you can make all kinds of money overnight, like Jack Dorsey on Twitter, even though you clearly don't deserve it, like Jack Dorsey on Twitter, or you can lose it all overnight, like we did when the breadwinner in my family had a heart attack and his small business had to shut its doors. So there's a lot that happens here. And when we think of the unhoused, we think of, I don't know, New Jack City. We think of crack babies that don't exist. We don't actually know welfare queens or the history of welfare, who it was created for, and how it actually grew. Do you remember back in the 70s? Yeah. What was the incident that took the percentage of black people who qualified for welfare and actually applying for it from 30% to 70%? Anybody? Switching over here to the comments. If you know, throw it in. If not, I'll share the link later. Okay. You don't know? It was a public campaign coming out of Columbia University led by a very conservative person who said, you know what, this is stupid, so let's bust it. Let's start this education program. And they sent people canvassing deep into the city, knocking on doors saying, did you know you qualify for this? Did you know you qualify for this? And within a few weeks, they did not manage to bankrupt the system and get rid of it like they intended to, but instead launched a problem that would then become a political campaign against people of color that still continues to rage today. So I'll add some links to that. You can go read up on it. That every bit of that is true. So welfare queens, by the way, is a phrase that Ronald Reagan created, but it's a problem that was created by people who hated Jimmy Carter. So it's kind of interesting. The whole thing was made up, literally soup to nuts, by Republicans. Amazing. Amazing. So if you have feelings, if you have opinions, if you would like to learn a little bit more, I can give you the ammunition you need to yell all of this all day and to say fuck you with confidence to the people who have to listen, because they're elected and it's their job and it's your civic duty to give them input. Yay! After that, there's going to be a car rally in Aurora, and Her Royal Highness Dr. Jurisprudence Beyonce Elizabeth Epps has been tweeting about it. So, and where she goes, I follow without question, just answers. Not sure how I'm going to make that work tonight with all this going on, but I'm hopeful if you can make the car rally, come with us and then head out to the car rally and continue streaming, live streaming city council and making comments underneath. Tag your representatives. I'm going to make it really easy. They're tagged in this post on Facebook, both their Twitter and their Facebook handles. And I'm going to continue to post those so that you can find yours and go. So here we go. Back to the comments. Go hear what he has to say. Yep, they have shown us exactly how to treat them. Correct, Vinny. Thank you. We do need to support the community because we got to show up. Candy is doing amazing work. I'm really sorry we have that in common. I am. But it doesn't matter if this happens for a period of weeks or a period of years. There's a perception about the unhoused being morally inferior and lazy who just don't want to work that is completely detached from reality. If you have a story, if you are moved, if you have been touched by homelessness at any point, if it's still in the back of your head, something you fear like it is mine, please come share that story. I would like to normalize this conversation and change it a little bit. At the Blue Bench, which I'm on the board of, we are committed to changing the conversation around sexual assault, and we're going to be doing that aggressively, I believe, in 2021. Yay. Guess who's joining the social media team? It's going to be great. So to that end, if you have a story to tell, we would like to help you tell it. We would like to facilitate it. Again, not in an exploitative way, but rather in, would you believe that this used to be homeless? I know what I'm talking about because there are a whole lot of us who do. And the reason we don't talk about it is because of the shame associated. My parents are still alive. They don't like talking about it. Funny that. Most people don't. Once they've managed to come out of that place, they don't like admitting that they've been there because there's a stigma that's attached that you can't get rid of. Instead of celebrating the American dream, we refuse to believe that it exists because you know what? It does for so few. It's practically a fucking fairy tale. We're not better than that, but we can be. And it starts with caring about local legislature to get us there. So over the weekend, this is the final note, I'm going to say the biggest, there were lots of parties all over the place, which is terrific, but though hopefully those have abated because the biggest danger right now is liberals and moderates coming out in the street forgetting that this is in fact a movement for Black lives, feeling a little threatened and then deciding to call the police in the middle of a rally where Black people are present. So please don't do that if you're showing up, or if you see something, say something. If you see somebody like grabbing their phone to call the police, stop them quickly. But I don't expect to see those people out anymore, especially on a day like this when this is cold. So it's gone on long enough. I hope to see you guys tonight. We're at 20 minutes. You're coached. You are loved. You know what to do. Be better than the bunny rabbit. Treat city council like that bunny rabbit. Whatever that means to you. It might mean animal cruelty. I'm not sure. I don't know what he meant by that, but I really don't want to know either. But I have an idea, and I intend to play that idea out in public, in person, and at city council tonight. Come watch.